Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is Jason Bitbender Brink, and I am here with Sherpa and Shadow from the Echoes of Empire team. And we're here to just kind of chat and talk and answer some questions today. How are you guys doing?
Great. How about you?
Honestly, I'm really happy it's Friday. Super, super happy it's Friday. It has been a little bit of a struggle bus of a week, but we're doing okay so far.
100%. I think we're definitely feeling the same way. We had a playtest go out this week for all of
That's
our
right.
celestial claim holders, so it's definitely been a busy week here.
The hat. No, the other way. There we go.
There it is. Nice.
So how's the playtest going?
So far, so good. I think we had a couple of issues early on that we were helping folks triage through, but people are in there. We've got combat working. We're excited for people to be able to test a bunch of that stuff out. Definitely a really early slice of combat, which we want folks to keep in mind. But it's the beginning of where we want to go with the game. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. For those who are just joining us, Jason Bitbender Brink, president of Blockchain at Gala, would you guys like to talk a little bit about who you are and what you do in relation to all of this for the people who are watching for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Matt. I am the general manager of Ion Games, which is the studio that is producing Echoes of Empire.
Yep, and I'm Ken Sherpa Landon. I'm a director of product at Hit Factor, working with Matt on Echoes, and my job really is to figure out the why and the what we're doing, and kind of prioritize it for our teams to go and knock out.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Is there anything that you guys want to tell the community before we jump into taking some questions or anything of that nature?
Yeah, I think just going back to the playtest and some of the announcements we've done over the last month or so, we really wanted to get something out to our community towards the beginning of this year, just to get them like an early piece of kind of where we want to
Right.
go with combat. But we want that to be really evident in our approach, is that this is just the beginning. It's a
Right.
super early slice. It's a system that we plan to expand on with a lot of depth as we move through future milestones and into the beta in October. But we wanted to give people at least an early look of kind of how we're thinking about combat, where that system can go, and what it could eventually feel like. A couple of things to note there is, like, even right now, we don't even have true chip damage in the game, right? So the winning fleets of a combat encounter, they actually just come out of that back at full health, which is not actually how the game is going to work in the
It's
future.
handy though. Handy, gotta say.
It is handy. If you're winning, you can just keep on winning, just run around and go kill a bunch of people, win over and over and over again. But we really want, big groups to be able to go and take down that, massive overlord who's just like lording over a whole territory. And the only way that that's going to work is through chip damage, which isn't in the game yet, but is something that we want to be part of our ethos around combat. So really, really early look, but we just want everyone to keep in mind that the playtest is early. Take what you're playing with a grain of salt. We're still going to expand on and improve upon it. What you're going to see in October is going to be vastly different than kind of where it's at today.
Right. Okay, awesome. And one of the cool things that I like about playtest is this is a great opportunity for the community to lean in and give their comments as well. So if you guys who are listening, go ahead and let everyone know what you think, either in our Discord or in the EOE Discord. We definitely want to hear opinions and feedback and whatnot. And I know they do too, because it's through those opinions and feedback that we get to the awesome game that everybody wants to play. So yeah, should we take some questions, or is there anything else that you guys would like to dig in on there?
Yeah, anything you want to add from the product side, Ken?
No, I mean, I would just like to say, kind of echoing Jason's comments, is it's super valuable for us to get folks feedback early on at this stage in development. And your voice really matters. It has an outsized impact on my impression of what changes need to happen. My goal is really to kind of like to get your voices directly to the engineers to make those changes. So yeah, please do speak up, ask questions, or provide that feedback early and often, and I'll make sure that we I promise that we will take it into account when we're developing our roadmap.
Awesome. So yeah, we will be taking questions in the YouTube chat and in Discord, which you can join our Discord at galagames.chat if that's what you would like, or go to the actually put comments in the YouTube chat, which I'm going to have to get up if I'm going to be taking questions from it. Those of you who are in Discord, as I get my YouTube chat up, do you guys have any questions that we'd like to share here? See, Smiling Monster says visually stunning, but UI navigation could use a bit of work.
100%. That's actually an area of the project that we just added some staffing to. And I think that added staffing is actually showing a little bit in our approach to the UI and UX. You're starting to see some parts of the game diverge away from each other a little bit. And that can sometimes happen when you bring in new people and they have new, fresh ideas of how to approach certain problems. So we're working right now on just kind of getting everything closer together, get it a little bit more tight knit, making sure that the way that we think about user flows is the same across different parts of the game. So that's definitely a big focus for us right now. It's something that Ken and I are paying a lot of attention to. And if you guys remember Uncle Yuri is helping us out on that, really focus in to make sure we can clean up the style. We want to make those user flows feel really good. We want every interaction to feel fun and engaging, make you want to play more. And it doesn't feel like that right now. Definitely doesn't feel like that right now. So it's a big focus for us.
Okay, I now have the YouTube chat up as well. Okay, there we go. Now I'm pulling questions from everywhere. So what kind of are you guys participating in May Mayhem at all? I guess that's a question. Am I not? If I'm not allowed to ask that, then tell me to shut up.
I think we are we're considering it at this point. I don't think we have a clear plan on what we want to do for May Mayhem at this point, particularly because we're doing actually a lot of giveaways and activities as a part of our community playtest. Our community team is super active right now, making sure that we can do a bunch of resource pack giveaways. We're doing a future NFT ship giveaway. All sorts of kind of activities related to the community playtest. So that's kind of focus number one right now. And then
when does the playtest go until?
I believe it's going to go for a week. So it started on Wednesday and it's going to end next Wednesday, I believe.
Okay, excellent. Do you want to talk any more about the ships or those giveaways that are involved in that? You want to?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
So I believe, and hopefully one of my community managers is following along with us to some degree and can maybe correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. But I believe we are doing a giveaway for the top Stardust earner in the playtest. So we're kind of tracking that in our backend telemetry, just seeing what everybody's Stardust earnings are. And then we'll let everybody know who the top 3 earners were at the end of the week. And basically those top 3 earners will each receive a slightly different reward. But I'm pretty sure the top reward is an uncommon Mark IV flagship. So that'll be a really exciting one to get for sure. I know the community team was also doing a Find the Dev challenge. You got to go find a dev in the game and then defeat them in combat, which you get a nice little reward for doing that as well. I believe that one's a resource pack. So yeah, we've definitely got a lot of stuff going on for the playtest.
So Zeta, I believe that answers your question. What the community playtest rewards are based on? It's it's your ability to go in and collect that sweet dust.
Right.
So yeah, that's I think that when we look at this, one of the things that makes Echoes stand apart, I think, is the the 4X nature of it, but then also this beautiful art style that you guys have. In fact, I was just cleaning my office the other day and I found the crystal ship that you guys gave me at the first Galaverse, and I have it up on a shelf now, where it belongs, instead of, in a box with a bunch of other stuff that came back from various travels and I've not sorted through. Um, so how has that art style grown and evolved as the game has grown as well?
Yeah, I would say Yuri our has really driven a lot of the art direction for the game, and he's come up with this extremely unique style of art. I think we've kind of classified it as like somewhere between like Art Deco, Art Nouveau, part sci-fi. So it's I would say been really interesting just kind of watching that come to life. I think the areas where we've seen that come to life the most in the last 3 to 6 months is certainly in our ship design. That was something that we cared about very deeply. It spent a lot of time on iterating on. You can even see one of the ships here in the background behind me that we've got, one of our garrison support ships back there. And we also wanted to make sure that each of our factions had like a really clear identity to it that both fits with the art style, but also kind of fits within the broader game universe as well. So yeah, I would say the ships are really kind of the largest representation of how that style has grown and changed over time.
Can you explain how the celestial claims work? I've got questions coming in both channels on that one.
Yeah, so the celestial claims are the NFTs that we sold some time ago to a bunch of folks who were lucky enough to go and grab those. Essentially, the way that that's going to work is that's like a player's ticket to go and claim a celestial object in the game at the beta launch. So let's say Ken's got a celestial claim for Aurora's Edge of an epic rarity. He would basically be able to go and take that claim ticket and apply it to any epic celestial object in Aurora's Edge. And he would basically be able to say, this celestial object now belongs to me. I'm going to own and operate it. All of the resources that players can mine will go through my decision making process or decision making criteria for who can and cannot use my resource mines for their gains. And in exchange of that, Ken will provide defenses to those players to protect them while they're harvesting from his celestial object.
Okay, nice. Oh, what was that? I saw something pop up. Weiss wants to see the reward structure. I don't know if that's published anywhere. Is it? I don't believe so.
The reward structure in relation to the community playtest?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think that should be posted in our personal Echoes of Empire Discord. We do have a separate Echoes of Empire Discord as well. I believe the reward
how do people get there?
Is primarily there. I will have our community, one of our community team members, post the link in our Echoes Discord discussion channel.
Okay.
So let me just make sure I ping them to get that posted up there.
Because I'm not in there. I should probably go in there and say hi too.
Totally be in there.
Let's see. I'm looking through to see what. Got some cool suggestions coming in from people based on playtests as well.
Yeah, lay them on us.
Just general quality of life improvements and little bugs. This is one of the things that I love about playtests is, especially early playtests, is you have the ability to find those little things that would otherwise you would otherwise kind of miss, because nobody is better at finding problems in a game than users using it for the first time. But developers, you guys can work on it all day, you can play through it all day, and you just it's kind of like when your grandmother asks you to fix her computer, it never misbehaves when you're there. It's always later when you go back home. What happened to my free cell? Get those fun little conversations, because the computer knows when the dev is nearby and does not act up. But let's see here. Smiling Monster, go ahead and DM me that link and I'll post it. I'm sending you a DM. There you go. DM is sent. You can send it to me there and I'll post it if nobody else does.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate that.
Not a problem. That's why I have the big green name. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to jump into this yet. That was my plan was to go ahead and my plan was to go in and start playing this the other day, but I have just been completely socked in and buried and just not been able to do that yet. Let's see here. I'm putting it in the announcement channel. There. Very cool. Everybody jump in there. I think that's going to be a good place for people to lean in on. And now that
Yeah.
you're asking for questions there, I should go join that right now so that I can.
Yeah,
Look at me.
the
I've joined.
one big benefit of that Discord channel is we have a lot of our developers kind of hanging around in that channel as well. So we've got a bit better
Ooh.
coverage on being able to answer questions. You've got different product managers and designers and a couple engineers in there as well, just hanging out. So usually that's a great place for us to try and triage issues, particularly during like this play test and things like that.
Yeah, it's really really nice to be able to connect with the community at that level. We've been having conversations internally at Gala about how to lean in more and help people connect better with the community. And we think that Discord is a super important component there. Being able to connect, have exchanges that are regular and absolutely current and up to date, and that's one of the best ways to lean on this sort of stuff. Okay, what other questions do people have? Weiss, you are not so late. You can get in there right now. Go, 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 go.
One topic that I know has come up a lot that hasn't necessarily come up quite yet in this Discord or this AMA, but I'm sure is just a matter of time, is
Sure.
what our plan is around what we previously talked about, which was Dust versus moving over to Gala Coin as a potential reward structure. And we just wanted to share kind of the early outcomes on that, which is we are going to be moving away from doing our own fungible token, Dust, and moving towards using Gala Coin as our primary reward coin. But we think that that's an important aspect of kind of the way that we're continuing to design our work. And, I think it really allows us to be even more tightly integrated with the rest of the Gala ecosystem. And so that's something that we're super excited about. As I've kind of told the community many times, that's something that we have worked really closely with Gala on to make sure that we're all aligned on how we want to approach that, what that means for the game, and making sure that we can still do it in a way that makes sense for our title versus other titles that are doing that as well. And so the general structure of how we're thinking about things is still going to be largely the same as what we've told the community previously. You're still going to earn Stardust in game. That Stardust will essentially be exchanged on a daily basis for Gala Coin. And then you could spend that Gala Coin back into the game. You could also go take that to elsewhere in the ecosystem and use that however you like. And that's essentially kind of the way that we're thinking about that reward structure for our players. So big change. We're excited about that one, though. I think it's going to be a great thing for both the ecosystem and for us included in that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just to give it a little bit of additional color for people, when you go and you create a new token, it's a lot more than just here's a new token, distribute, right? It's very difficult to pick up usage to get that token to be actually something that is usable without volume, liquidity, depth. These are all things that are very difficult to establish initially. So the way that we think about this at Gala is that, everything uses Gala up until it reaches the point where for some reason it needs more. Okay, if there is a system that has to be set up that requires a new type of token or an emission schedule that's set up that can't be accommodated by Gala and things like that, that's when you have secondary tokens begin coming into discussion. And it's not this is never going to happen. It's just that Gala has that central role in the ecosystem. Okay. Zeta, I just noticed that you have that cool little blossom animation on your Vox. That is super cool. I don't know what that is or where that came from, but I like it. Okay. Any other questions, people? What do we got? Guys have to have questions.
I am seeing one from Oatcat in our discussion channel on the Gala Discord. Oatcat said, "Will we be able to spend Stardust inside the game instead of Gala coin, or does it have to be swapped to Gala?" That's a great question. We don't have a firm answer on exactly how that flow is going to work. Our hope is that you could basically just turn your Stardust into credits, which is going to be our in-game resource or in-game economic resource. So our hope is that you could just exchange Stardust directly to credits, and it would essentially be the same thing. But there are some technical aspects of how we integrate with the Gala API and make sure that we handle that smoothly to make sure that the commensurate Gala coin is still technically accounted for.
Right.
So that's our hope, is that we can do something like that to reduce the amount of friction. You could just keep it in the game, keep playing, use it directly on the game economic resource that you would have intended to do anyway. But if not, then the way that it would go would be Stardust to Gala coin, and then you'd spend the Gala coin on credits. Credits would be what you would use in the game.
Devikin Bop asks, will there be interactable points of interest aside from mining?
Are there different interactable POIs aside from mining? Yeah. So our goal is for POIs to have a wider variety of potential activities that you could do with them, whether that be different service vendors at different POIs. There could be POIs that are primarily PvE POIs where you have NPCs that you could go and fight at those POIs. That's stuff that we hope to be able to kind of expand upon over time as the game grows. And I know Ken's got a lot of great ideas from the product side of things that we can add to those different POIs. Even to some degree, we want to be able to do dynamic POIs too, ones that only show up at certain times of day. Maybe they're related to certain limited time events. All sorts of things kind of like that, whether that be around particularly harvesting or whether that be around combat more in particular. Anything you want to add on that, Ken?
The one that I'm most excited for and is most dear to me as a 4X player is territory control POIs, which I'm fairly confident we'll have in time for the beta. There's depends on how much scope we have for launch, but it's a big part of 4X, and I think that gives players a lot of agency over the universe, being able to control different aspects of space and get benefits from that control. I think it's really, really a fun thing to play around with for players.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, one of the things that I love about live service games is that ability to have those POIs that come and go based on events. That's something I look forward to a lot. And I really look forward to jumping in and actually playing, and that's on my to-do list for later this afternoon. So fingers crossed. I think I actually have a Celestial Claim. I better have a Celestial Claim. I'm going to be really sad if I don't.
I feel like you must have a Celestial Claim.
I'm pretty sure I bought one. I should go check. Okay, guys, what other questions do you have? I see Moon Maniac is typing, Smiling Monster typing. Guys have any fun weekend plans?
Nothing this weekend. I am a big Lakers fan though, so Lakers Game 6 today. So gonna watch that. Hopefully we close out that series.
Good luck. Smiling Monster asks, "What are you guys most excited about EOE?"
Yeah, for me, I come from both kind of product background as well as production background. So, I think more focused on production as of late. So for me, I just want to get this game into the hands of players. That's the thing I'm most excited about. Just want it to be out in the wild, live, available for players to play in perpetuity, and for us to start getting on that live operations cadence where we can really start to deliver meaningful improvements over the course of the coming years. So I'm most excited about that. I just love being able to get player feedback and really build upon that game with the community to some degree. And we're not able to do as much of that today in production as we will be when we get to live operations. So that's
Right.
what I'm most excited about. What about you, Ken?
Moon Maniac asks for expansion on the economy. If we're getting rid of dust, will there be a fixed exchange rate back to Gala when converting out of credits? It probably will not be a fixed exchange. It's probably going to be based on a points type system because the amount of dust is going to be dynamic based on user action, and then the amount of Gala will be based on basically what's going into the system. So that's going to be a slightly different question.
Yeah, Jason's got that basically exactly right there. There is going to be kind of a scale adjustment based on how much Gala is going into the game, as well as like how much Stardust is being earned in the economy. Those will kind of fluctuate against each other.
Right. Will the unsold Celestial Claim NFTs be burnt eventually? Non-binding answer here. Sentiment only.
We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen to those yet.
There you go.
Well, when we eventually know, we will tell you what's going to happen to them. But for now,
my guess,
we're going to hold on to it.
Yeah, my guess is that there'll be a point in time where, as more people come in and want to play, those can probably be, will be released out in bits to the community because, they serve a absolutely necessary role in the game. If without Celestial Claims, none of that works. So I imagine, I doubt that they will just be burnt. It's more about, probably going to be more about getting them in for people to use. Levon Flores, I've noticed that some mines take 10 minutes and others take hours. Will we be able to make our own times for our own claims?
That's a good question. I will tease this one a little bit because it's something that's being very actively worked on. So I don't want to give away too much in case it changes too drastically. But I can say with certainty that we are likely going to move away from doing time-based leases. The leases are most likely going to be more based on resource amount, and then really the speed at which you complete a lease is purely based on how fast you can collect those resources. So I'm pretty confident that's the direction we're moving. How confident do you feel about that one, Ken?
95% is probably the way we're going. We're actively talking about that right now. So it's you can't say 100%, but very close to that.
Yeah.
And to add a little bit more color to the previous point, Zeta mentioned that later sales wouldn't be equivalent to the level of claim as the first ones in the previous AMAs. What would probably end up happening is they would probably be burnt over to Jiri and, kind of be like a V2 type thing, like you're seeing with spider tanks right now. But that doesn't mean that they'll just be, burnt and completely removed.
Yeah, and just to add to that further, Zeta, obviously I know what you're talking about from the previous AMA. And I think that that's still going to be true. I think the utility of those original NFT Celestial Claims that we sold, we're probably not going to give that level of utility to the ones that we sell in the future. So we really want to retain the origin factor of those early supporters. And we feel very strongly that the design of those is going to be different than the way that we treat any future sales for those Celestial Claims in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. I think that still have a trickle of questions coming through. How are you guys doing on time? Do we want to push this on for longer, or would you guys like to zip it up? Get back to game building.
Totally up to you guys. We're happy to answer questions. We're happy to close things a little bit earlier if it makes sense to do so. Yeah, we're a free game, so.
Right now, a lease of a planet will become unavailable after a successful attack. Will this change in the future? E.g., taking over a lease or something.
Yeah, Ken,
Says
I know you've been discussing this with our
Proof
designers.
G.
You want to touch on that at all?
What's the exact question? I don't know if I understand the question properly.
It is a statement followed by a question. Right now, the lease of a planet will become unavailable after a successful attack. Will this change in the future?
Yes, that will change. Right now, when you mine at a planet, you mine like a specific. We're referring to these as like parking spots. You're like mining at a parking spot, and a person comes and attacks you, and they attack that parking spot. In the future, you will mine at the parking lot. So you're basically paying for entrance into the lot to mine, and the person attacking attacks the lot, and you could, if they're successful, you could still go back and mine, in that same parking lot. It's not like the slot is not taken up. You don't take over the mine. Just depending on who controls the mine. If it's like an owned POI, then the owner still owns it. That's part of like one of the values of those early owned NFTs. You can't lose them, right? So you won't be able to take that off of them, but you will be able to take the resources off the people who are mining there. So it's a big incentive for you to go and kill people that are trying to mine and then steal their resources, so you don't have to waste all that time mining.
What are the upgrade packs for, and how will they work?
Yeah, so the upgrade packs that we gave out are specifically for our celestial object progression. So essentially, you would take one of those resource packs, you would apply it in the game. We would entitle your account with the appropriate resources that you would need to upgrade your celestial object. And when we had first given those out and announced them, we had actually intended for progression to function in two vectors. There was level, and then there was tier. Tier is essentially increasing your potential max level. So you'd go from level 1 to 10, and then you'd tier up from tier 1 to 2, which would increase your level cap from 10 to 20, for example. Where we actually decided to simplify that system to just make it a little bit easier to grok for players and a little bit easier to understand power levels more simply across the game. So we're just sticking with level moving forward. And previously, that upgrade pack was to go one full tier. So we are going to have to adjust the tuning of those upgrade packs a little bit just to make sure that it's still a meaningful improvement. We wouldn't want to change it just one level. That probably would not be enough resources to make those upgrade packs feel good and valuable. Right. So we are going to do a significant number of levels, but we haven't tuned quite yet what that value is going to be.
Okay, that's fair. Well, guys, it looks like we've worked through most of the questions. And is there anything else that you would like to share with the community here today?
Yeah, like Ken said earlier, keep giving us lots of feedback. We want the feedback. We want all the bugs. We want to go and fix all those bugs. We want to know where all your pain points are, because when you're on the developer side and you're just kind of staring at the game all the time, sometimes it can be hard to keep that really fresh perspective on the game and things that need to be fixed and adjusted. And you guys give us the best version of that. So that's why we do these playtests. We do them so that we can get those fresh set of eyes, that fresh perspective on things that we should go and work on and prioritize. And we couldn't do that without your guys' help. So keep the feedback coming. Come hang out in our Discord. We'll have some developers hanging out in there to answer some of your guys' questions. And we'd just love to engage with you guys some more through the upcoming week.
Awesome. Well, we had two more questions pop up while you were saying that. Let's dive in and knock those out, and then we'll call it. From Devikin Bop, how involved will the guild and alliance system be?
I already know what Ken's going to say. Why don't you take it, Ken?
Heavily involved. Yeah, so we've been, as we mentioned earlier, we've been taking a hard look at our roadmap and trying to see, what was on our roadmap prior to this last couple of weeks, and how that deviates from like best in class 4X games. And one of the biggest places I saw was well, there's two areas. One was territory control, and the other one was guild, like social formation. I'll call it, like a big bucket. And for me, it's such an important part of 4X games, especially like if you're familiar with like mobile 4X games, the social aspect of this that makes it more of an MMO versus like a single player game, or even like a 5-player, like 5 friends playing Civ. This is a very different experience, right? Because there's potentially thousands and thousands of players playing alongside of you. So guild and guild formation will be essential to taking over the universe and kind of having these big fun stories that you hear in like EVE Online, where a bunch of like people like go and take over the galaxy and have like big king of the hill moments and stuff. So yeah, very, very, very important.
I love that. Moon Maniac, and this will be the last question for today, asks, will in-game progression be based primarily on resources earned in-game, or will there be items that need to be purchased through the store? And they're trying to figure out how much a player's progression will be determined by what the user base is spending in Gala, or if we can progress regardless of what others are spending.
Yeah, great question. So the way that we've kind of designed the progression curve is that the early aspects of progression will be primarily based on those in-game resources. The ones that you're seeing in the game right now, which is like ore, composite, vapor, some combination of those three. That will drive like the majority of the early progression through probably command center like level 4, level 5, most likely. But then at some point, you're going to introduce credits, which is our economic resource, into most of the progression vectors of the game. And that will include ship leveling, that will include your home base leveling, that will include POI leveling, and that will be spent pretty much everywhere that you could spend something in the game. That's just going to become kind of like the key driving economic resource behind all actions, really. And that's kind of what becomes part of that cycle. So Stardust into Gala Coin, into credits, back into the game. Again, we do hope that there's like a friction reduction thing that we can do where you could just take your Stardust and exchange it directly for credits. That way it just makes that loop a little bit cleaner. But that is going to be kind of like a core mechanic of ongoing progression over time, is the inclusion of credits into those progression vectors.
Okay, cool. I mean, I love the idea of Stardust to credits, and having that be part of it. So that's I think that would be a cool thing to work out. Guys, thank you so much for coming here and talking. Hit the like and subscribe, please, to the channel. Share with your friends. This is going to be out there. It's going to stay up on Twitter, and it's going to stay up on YouTube, and it's going to stay up in all the places. So make sure that you hit that and follow what we've got going on in our Discord, which is at galagames.chat, and the Echoes of Empire Discord, which is posted in the Echoes of Empire announcement channel. So we'll do this again, guys, and I'm going to go play Echoes of Empire right now, and I think I'm probably going to go stream it. So I will let you guys know how it goes.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Jason. Talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Peace out, everyone.